Welcome to the Roadrunnr89 Investment Network, where we talk about interracial love and marriage. Hope you enjoy. Swirl to invest. How's everybody doing today? Happy Monday. I usually don't make a show during the day on a Monday. Okay. But welcome to the show. Um, Tonight I'm going to talk about our today. Sorry, I'm used to doing this at night. How you doing, J10? Good to see you. You are, yeah, I was in Atlanta. Yeah, I just got back yesterday and had a good time. And no, I watched the Braves and the San Francisco Giants. And then right after they played the Brewers. But yeah, I got to see them play the San Francisco Giants. And they ended up losing. That sucked, but it was fun. Um, really enjoyed it. Um, but yeah, today I'm going to talk about, the swirl option. Okay. And opening up your options. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about, um, wow, you were there at the same time? Really? Oh man, yeah, that was awesome. I got some pictures. I got a video. I had more stuff to show you guys, but my phone got something happened where it I got some virus on it and it went berserk, and I had to do a factory reset and erase everything, and the cloud didn't save everything, but I got some stuff. Um, but anyway, had a good time. My brother lives in Atlanta, so me and my wife we go there quite often. Uh, Usually we're not filming. Usually it's me and my wife spending time, but you know, I got away for like 4 days to go see my brother. I went by myself. I wasn't able to take my wife because she had work and she's trying to get time off for when our grandchildren come. So, but I got away for a few days, and my brother's busy. I'm busy, and we hardly have time to hang out because he's always gone and I'm always doing something. So, we had a few days, and I kind of snuck in there to have some fun, spent time with my brother and his wife and my niece and nephew. So it was fun. It was good to get a little rest and you know. But I will be going back soon. Had a good time. I wish I had more time to go see the sights and just, but eh, enjoyed what I had. Um, and anyway, guys, I just want to say, uh, for the fathers out there, happy Father's Day. That was yesterday. I was able to come home in time to spend Father's Day with my wife and children and stuff, and it was a good day. Um, but and then 19th they had Juneteenth. Um, Happy Juneteenth Day. But had a really good time. Okay, and I'll show you my road trip first. I'll show you some pictures. Um, okay, and let me get this. Oh, dang it! Why do I still have that on there? Okay. All right. All right, now here's me on the plane with that's the cartoon version. Okay, getting out of town for a little bit. Now I understand the cartoon look. He's better looking than I am and a lot thinner, but that's okay. But you know, got in there and here I got some pictures. When we first got there, we got off the plane, we went and ate, and then we went to the Coca Cola World of Coke, the in Atlanta, and I got some pictures of that. Okay, there's one, and I got one picture. Okay, and they just had a bunch of exhibits of old Coke memorabilia. They also had places where you could taste different uh, sodas that are made around the world, and it was pretty neat. And there's a picture of me. They had like a thing you could do a picture, I guess, with you in it, celebrating with the Coke deal. That that was fun. And if you ever go there, if you're a veteran, it's free. You just show them your ID, and which was nice. Um, and then we went back to my brother's house. I'm not going to show you a picture of my brother's house or family for safety reasons. Okay, but we went back and couple uh, a day, couple days later, we went to see the Braves game. They were playing San Francisco Giants, and this is just a picture of Truist Park. All right, it's really neat over there. Outside, they got like bars and restaurants lined up, people everywhere. It was awesome, and there's a picture. This is when we are getting ready to enter to the game. And there's another picture, people walking around, and I never seen nothing like it. It was amazing. Okay, and then this is a picture. This is when the game was over and people were clearing out, and I had to go back and I left my program there and the free shirt they gave us, so I had to go back for that. And so my brother took a picture here, but you see the background of the field, and really nice. And then here's another picture. This is during the game. This is about when it first started. Started in the evening, then got dark, and the game was the Braves were actually getting beat up by the Giants, which the Braves are in first place and Giants in second to last, but things happen. But it was they were behind, and one time they were down 7-2, and they made a run to make it 7-5. So it got exciting towards the end, but they still lost. But had a good time. Okay, so go ahead and bring this picture down, and then also when we were there, we got to go to I guess up in the mountains in an area. Uh, what was that place called? It's where the Appalachian Trail, I guess, starts. And it's like 2,000 miles, goes from like Georgia to Maine or something crazy. And but they had like a visitor center up there and a trail and a big waterfall, the Cola waterfall. And I got a picture of that, and I'm standing there, and that's how big that waterfall is. It's huge, and there's like a little bridge there, a trail you can walk. Um, it's really neat. I got a video of it. I'll show you here real quick. It's one of the one videos I was able to save. But let me put this up here. But that's how big it is. It's really neat in there. I didn't think Georgia had mountains like that, but it's pretty neat. Okay, go ahead and remove that. And let's use the short video, show you what it looks like over there. Okay, so that's what I was able to salvage. I was so upset. I deleted my phone to get rid of a virus I had, and I never had it before. Just it went crazy, and I had to just shut it down. And I lost some videos, but I was able to keep some pictures and videos. But it was a fun trip. Had a good time. All right, now let's get to the topic of the show tonight. Okay, and what that topic is, okay, it's the swirl option. Where's my slide? Oh, there it is. The swirl option. Okay. Now, whenever you're dating, in a relationship, there's always options, right? Well, if the person likes you, you have an option. But what is a swirl option? Okay. And that's an option to open up your options to date outside your race, have a relationship with someone that is not of the same racial group as you or ethnicity. Okay. And here in this cartoon picture, you see a black woman and white man getting married. Okay. And as we see on social media, okay, there's a lot of talk about interracial relationships, opening up your options. And, most people will date and marry with their own racial group. Okay. That's what most people do. But some of us are attracted to people outside of our race. And there's nothing wrong with that. I know people try to make it, you know, try to shame those of us that open up our options and make us feel like we're doing something wrong and not being loyal to our group. But when it comes down to it, finding someone that loves you, that's the important thing. And I opened up my options back in '85 and I never looked back. Okay. And some people, some of us, we open up our options right away. And, some people, they just are okay with dating whoever as long as they're a good person and they're attracted to them. And that's wonderful. But some of us don't and aren't like that. Okay. We're attracted to, you know, who we're attracted to. And sometimes it's outside of race. Sometimes some of us have a preference for women outside of our racial group. Okay. I have a preference for black women. And and the reason is because of the black women I've been around have been amazing and have had a amazing character and beauty within. And of course, the physical attraction is important too. Okay, but some people think because you open up your options, it's because of some fetish or some lustful thing going on, and some people, that's true, but a lot of us, we just fall in love with somebody that just don't look like us. And, for me, it's because of a black woman's character, because of a black woman's heart, black woman's loyalty, and what I've seen. Okay. And people say, well, can't you see that in other women? Sure. Okay. But in my life, this is my experience. Okay. And when I opened up my options, I dated interracially. And my goal, I was raised traditional, okay, where we're taught that when we, move out of the house, we go find a wife and start our own family. Um, and my family, people get married young. I got married at 24, and compared to some people in my family, I'm kind of a late bloomer. And, but, that's how I was raised. And when I opened up my options, it was in the intent to find love, to be in a relationship, to ultimately find a wife. And the qualities I've seen in women, the qualities that I really love, that I fell in love with, were from black women. Okay, in my life, and the black women in my life were traditional too, and you know, but along the way, I people have shamed me and thought it was wrong that I would date black women, and there are people that thought it was wrong for me to marry a black woman, and there were people that told me how much trouble I'm going to have and how hard it's going to be and how different we are and all this nonsense. But when you go through life, you find out that we're people, we're human beings, and you know we all want love. I mean, some people aren't so traditional. Some people, are in toxic relationships, and that's unfortunate. And in my belief, I believe that you know my purpose in life was to become a husband and father. Okay, and to be the best husband and father I can be. Um, and to raise a family and pass on, you know, to my family, and you know, and by the grace of God, pass on a blessing and not a curse. Teaching their children, to be good people and do right, and hopefully they marry somebody that loves them and have a good marriage and a good relationship. And but all the negative I've been told, it's been actually the opposite. Okay. The only problems me and my wife have really had were from some haters, but mostly people didn't bother us for the most part. There were some times, there is evil in this world, but for the most part, I thought it'd be a lot harder being in an interracial marriage than it has been. And I've been married 32 years, and I made the right decision. And my father asked me one time, and my parents knew I was going to marry a black woman before I knew it. It just, they can tell, your children. And my dad asked me, like, I was 16, and asked me why I date black women and what I see in them. Okay. And he wasn't against it. He just wanted to know why. Because it is unusual for a white guy to just date black women, and and some people think it's weird. Some people think, oh, he's just lust. It's just exciting to him at the time. And no, it wasn't that. I was truly in love with black women. And God help me, I love black women. I just have. You know, and the black women in my life have been a beautiful example of what women should be, or what people should be. And that had an impact in my life. And I've always wanted to do this channel and tell my story, and let people know you can open up your options and find a blessing. Don't believe that propaganda and that conditioning that we're so different, because we're really not, except how we look. And if you don't worship skin tone and you want to be with someone that loves you, why not open up your options? You know, this nonsense I'm seeing that you got to stay with your racial group or you're going to disappear and all that. That to me is ridiculous. We're people. And even if we all were in an interracial marriage and we all procreated different groups of people, okay, we're just people. And who cares whether we're light or dark? As long as we find true love, build a family, and have a happy life. That's what it's about, right? Life's too short. And I don't understand being loyal to somebody because they share the skin tone. That to me is stupid. I'm loyal to people that have a big heart. I'm loyal to people that are loyal. I'm loyal to people that love me, that I love. Okay, I'm loyal to people that are my friends and family. Okay, and I'm not just going to take someone's side because we're the same skin tone. And I see a lot of that going on, and I'm like, what are we doing? We should be with people that share our character and our values, not because we look alike. Now, in my friendship circle, there are people that look like me, and there are people that don't look like me, and that's okay. And the swirl option is out there, and we found that black women and white men are having successful marriages, building families, and and my family and the friends I've had growing up, you know, they were surprised my marriage lasted. And it wasn't because me and my wife were bad people. We're good people. It's just because she's black and I'm white, they thought. But fast forward, they're finding out that, men are having success opening up their options with black women. And people tell me, they say, well, if you're so happy with your black wife, and your interracial marriage, why don't you just live your happy life? And, why do you got to tell everybody about it? Well, my thing is why do people got to go around and shame people for opening up their options? Why do people got to go out there and put a negative spin on interracial relationships? Why do they got to trash people that open up their options? Okay, and that's the thing. So because I'm in an interracial relationship, that I'm supposed to be happy and keep quiet? No. The truth needs to be out there. And a lot of times we don't see the truth. We just believe what we're told. And we don't get to know for ourselves, you know? But I opened up my options, and I knew me and Sandy, our marriage would last. There was no doubt in my mind. I love my wife, she loves me, and it worked. You know? And that's a beautiful thing, And when it comes down to it, we're people. And I look at my wife's family and my family. In my family, we got successful people and we got people that aren't. We got hardworking people and lazy people. And my wife's got that in her family too. When it comes down to it, it comes down to your character. What's in your heart? Your discipline, your integrity, you know? That has no color. That just what's in your heart. And but for some reason people still look at people based on color. It's weird. But anyway, I got some videos I want to show you guys. And when I show videos, okay, some of them I agree with, some I don't. Okay, I just want to get people's perspective. Okay, life is a learning process. Okay, I think I know how black women think, and I really don't. I know my wife, but people are different. Okay, but I think these videos can be educational. If you're going to open up your options, the women that you're attracted to, you want to have a relationship with, you should get to know them and how they think. And I made a video a while back on have a friendship first before a relationship, if you can do that, you know. And I tell people that want to date black women, never have. I said, find a black woman, make friends with her, be her friend, find out what she's like, and learn a little bit. Okay. Um, you might just meet somebody and you know approach and it works and you get to know each other along the way. But there's because of a little bit of cultural differences, there can be some confusion, some misconceptions. Okay. You tell a black woman she's beautiful, she might take it as she might be thinking you're fetishizing her because you say it a certain way, and you might not mean it. You might just be being nice, or but really, I think just being yourself. Approach, just be you. Approach with love and kindness. Okay. Um. But anyway, let's show these videos, and you tell me what you think. Okay. There's reality and there's perception. Okay. There's a lot of propaganda out there, and a lot of conditioning going on. And people are opening up their options now more than ever, but there's still a lot of people against it. There's people that want to go back to segregation, which I don't understand. That's ridiculous. But there are people that want that. I just think they're misinformed and really haven't got to know people. They're just going on stereotypes and generalizations. What they see on TV. Okay. And I'm telling you, my life dealing with black people is a lot different than what I see on social media. Okay. Um, but anyway, I'm not going to get all into that, but there is reality and then there's social media. Okay. But the things I tell you are true. I am married to a black woman, have been for 32 years. Okay. All right. I try to be as honest as I can. Some things I don't tell you just because people don't need to know. Oh, okay. Just for safety reasons. I don't, I tell you the town I live in. I live in Las Cruces, New Mexico. I work in Texas. I actually work in El Paso. So it is kind of, so people talking about going to Texas already work there, but it's right on the border of New Mexico. But anyway, but I'm not going to show you my house and all this stuff. Okay. But anyway, let's see some videos and you tell me what you think. Okay. And I'm going to give my reaction. But before I do, let me put up the copyright disclaimer. Okay. All right. Fair use. Fair use. Okay. The videos we're going to show are for educational purposes. The videos we're going to show is for learning, for criticism. Okay. And I'm going to give you my opinion. You could give me yours. Okay. This is strictly for enjoyment and educational purposes. Okay. By watching YouTube or TikTok videos, believe it or not, we can learn something. Okay, we can learn what people think, what's on their mind. Okay, now if a black woman says something, that don't mean all black women think that. Okay, or whatever. Okay, or a white guy says something, we don't share the same brain. Okay, but it is good to hear from people. Okay, and but anyway, okay, in this video, it talks about that white men are more helpful in a corporate setting, I guess, at work. Uh, I'm not a black woman, so I don't know. Um, anyway, but I've heard this, okay, and people think that I'm kind of biased towards black women. I don't think I'm a biased guy, but yeah, I probably am. But in general, I've heard black women say that white men treat them better than white women would, or black men, or other groups. Is that true? I don't know, but let's see this video real quick.
So to people, but there's
Okay, is it true white men help black women the most in tech spaces? Is it true? Those of you that are in tech spaces or in the corporate world, do white men help more? Or is it just certain people's experience?
this might be controversial to people, but there's this consensus amongst at least black women in tech that white men end up helping black women the most. Because it's like, oh, if they have the juice,
Yes.
and you need to excel to
Yes.
the level where
Yes.
95%
Yes.
of people on the board are white men,
Yes.
it's probably going to come down to a white
Yes.
man having
Yes.
to elevate you.
It's not that black men or other women won't help you. It's not that they won't, but it's, do they have the access to be able to help you in large mass? Now, you and I know both know a couple of people who are in that bucket, who are not white men, who can be helpful.
Yes.
But they're few and far between. So if you are really looking in mass at, who can help me, depending on what you're doing, it is likely to be a white man.
Okay, is that true? And here's a beautiful thing I've heard. I've heard white men say in the corporate world where I work, and I've heard white men say that how amazing black women are, and that they work with, and and they say how professional, and how amazing they are. And these ain't guys trying to pick up on a black woman. They're just from what I've heard, you know, and maybe it just I don't know, but I have heard that, and and maybe it just the guys are being nice, and they just happen to be nice to a black woman. Maybe black women don't expect white men to be nice to them, so when they are, it's like magnified. Maybe, um, but I've heard people say that working with black women don't. It's nothing like the stereotype you see on TV, and they get to know that, and maybe they develop a work relationship. They feel comfortable with that person. I know, when it comes to work, when it comes to even investing, um, I've dealt with black women, and I made money listening to black women. Um, but I don't know. I've heard that. Is that true, guys? Do white men treat you better in the tech world or corporate world? I've heard definitely more white men treat black women better than white women, but maybe that's a jealousy thing too. I don't know. It's interesting, but I've seen a lot of videos like this. Okay. And when I've been at work and jobs I've had, I've never heard white men say nothing negative about black women that work with them. I haven't. And I'm being honest. Or maybe black women are cautious and, more polite so they get treated better. Um, but anyway, just a thought I had. All right, let's show this video. Now, this video I'm going to show you. There's some thoughts this young lady has, and there can be some misconceptions. Okay, last live I did, we talked about black women not wanting to be the first girlfriend to a white man. Okay, because they felt they wanted to be with a white man that has been with black women before. I guess because they don't want to be that experiment or the first. But it could be a good man, and he just happens to be you happen to be the first black woman he's with. Um, I think sometimes people read into that too much. Um, Heck, my first black girlfriend, I was the first to her, but I had a lot of love for her. You know, I treated her like a queen. I mean, I was in love with this woman. But maybe there's that fear of being the first. Maybe he's looking for an experience, and you should have your guard up because you don't want to be somebody's experiment or somebody's experience, right? Really, none of us want that. If we're with someone, we want to be loved by that person, right? Okay.
I quite ever.
Okay. She talks about dating white men. Okay.
I don't think I quite ever articulated this correctly when I was in a relationship with a white person. And I've been in a couple of things with people who aren't black, but I've noticed that this comes up when I'm dating white men in particular. I kind of have this chip on my shoulder about being a black girl who has dated outside of her race. Specifically, we're talking about white men in this case. I don't know, I tend to interrogate them and sort of ask if they've dated other black girls before, or if they had any black crushes or whatnot, growing up. Because I don't necessarily need to be your type. I think that's also weird if you have a racial type. For me personally, I'm probably not going to attach myself to you if that's the case.
Okay, let me stop there. She said there's a problem with having a racial type. Why is that a problem? If a man is into this young lady and wants to be with her, has true love for her, but maybe has a preference for black women, that's the type of women he wants to be with. Is that a bad thing? Or is he supposed to just not have a type and just happy-go-lucky accidentally fall in a relationship? To me, that's kind of weird. Why she don't want to be with a man that has the type? Or maybe she's thinking if he's just in the black woman, it's a sexual thing. It could be a character thing. It could be a love thing that a man has a preference. So, she might miss out on a good man that just thinks black women are amazing. And, he might think she's amazing, and she finds out that he's dated black women along the way. And would that break up? Would that get rid of his chances with her? I'm just wondering. What do you think? Or is she onto something? And to me, that's confusing. A lot of times you have a type and you're attracted to it's not you wake up and say, I want to be attracted to this group of women. You just are. But anyway, let's continue.
But I am curious to know that I'm in the realm of people you saw yourself with. I would get particularly annoyed if we were just talking about I don't know, celebrities we think are attractive or that kind of thing.
it's just every time I've been in that position, I've been having those types of conversations with like crushes, relationships, whatever. Like their type or the people they are like interested in never seem to come close to what I look like. And like that always hurts my feelings. I don't know. There is just
Whoa,
something
whoa, whoa,
that
whoa,
feels
whoa. Okay, so didn't she say she didn't have a type, but the ones that aren't in the realm that are like her, that hurts her feelings? Maybe I'm just reading into this wrong. Maybe I'm not understanding. But it sounds like she didn't want the white man to have a black woman as a type. But when she's with the man and his type being in the same realm as she is, I don't know. But anyway, it's just interesting to hear what people think, you know?
so crazy to me about being with someone who never really can even identify like someone like who looks like you being like someone they thought before was hot. You know, I don't know, and it used to like really upset me because then it, you know, it just is like, how am I here then if you just never like seem to be attracted to people who even slightly look like what I look like? Like, how did I get here? And I don't know, it just makes me feel some type of way. I don't know. I don't know how to deal with that. I don't think.
Okay. All right. Well, good video. She's a bit young. I do think when getting in a relationship with a white man, a conversation should be had at the beginning about the culture differences and the problems they may face, or wait till that bridge comes. Well, I think you should have a discussion because you got to know what that person wants, and is there issues because you're in an interracial relationship. You probably want to address that right away because if you don't, it can get ugly. And I, before I got married, I was in a relationship with a woman, and she was really pro-black, like, and looking back, I was amazed she even dated me. But um, she was pro-black, and she'd always want to talk about race, which I didn't. I'm like, okay, you're black, I'm white. Like, why are we even? If we love each other, what's the problem? That's my attitude with it, right? But she would get upset because of things that happened that were racial. That I guess I didn't get emotional enough about it. Um, and it's just a misconception. It was almost like, I don't know, maybe she wanted a black man with my characteristics, or I don't know. I think it was just a toxic situation. And that's why I say friendship is the best thing before a relationship. Yeah, and get to know that person, because if you get in a relationship, that could be, it could be hurtful. Okay, if it takes more than being attracted to each other. You got to love each other. You got to love each other above all your problems. Okay, and you got to be okay to be with that person if they're black or white. Okay, because if you're not and you struggle with that, you probably shouldn't be in an interracial relationship. Okay, um, because you know some people, it's hard for them to be in an interracial relationship. For me, I could care less what people thought. Um, my wife Sandy's my wife, and if you have a problem with it, I'll kick you to the curb in a heartbeat. You could even be in my family. Okay, I will forsake my family for my wife. Okay, my wife is the number one person in my family. Okay, So I was, you know, when I say I was down with the swirl, I was down with it, and nobody was going to stop me from being with the women I want to be with. The whole world can go to you know what if they don't like it. But not everybody's like that. Some people can't handle that. Some people, you know, but and a lot of problems goes by a lot of problems in a interracial relationship. I believe happen is misunderstanding, misconceptions. Okay, what's that? Were you in the Atlanta fifth? No, I didn't go see any of the World Cup games. But when I was there were a lot of people walking around with the soccer jerseys and from different countries. And that was amazing. They're all over the place. I mean, when we went to the World of Coke, I mean, there was people everywhere. And when we went to the baseball game, it was packed. It was just Atlanta is an amazing place. It is. I wouldn't want to live there, but I love to visit there. My brother wants me to move down there. I'm like, no. I will visit you though. I love it down there, but I'm going to Texas. But sometimes it's tempting though. I feel like you have to be very mentally strong, yes, to be a white man in a relationship with a black woman. Yes, and vice versa, I just feel like a lot of men are weak and easily crumbled nowadays. They are. You're absolutely right, J10. Us as men, in a collective of men, we need to do better. We are lacking. Okay? We need to be stronger as men, especially if you're in an interracial relationship. You got to love that woman more than anything in the world. Okay? And if you don't, you're going to have problems. Okay? And ladies, I would say you got to love that man more than anything. Okay? And if you have issues with white people and and you have problems because slavery happened and things, racial things that happened in the past, and if you look at him and it reminds you of that, stay away from white men. Okay. uh just understand he's a man. He's responsible for what he did, not what people that look like him did. Okay. But you got to be mentally strong. Okay. And I'm telling you, people will shame you. People will try to make you look bad. Good. Because they don't like the interracial thing. Most people won't do that. I don't want to scare people thinking like, oh my God, there's all these people coming at you and hating you because you're in a. No. There are people that do hate it, but there are people that understand that you're with who you love. And some people admire you have the courage to be with a black woman and love her and let the world know you love her. Okay? And you know, and if you're in a relationship with a black woman, married to a black woman, you know, it's a blessing. Don't be ashamed of it. I have an awesome life. Black women are amazing. They've, impacted my life in such a positive way, and I'm not afraid to say it. I love black women, always have. And I'm not going around fetishizing them. I love their heart. I love their loyalty and their character. There's 4 women in my life I've talked about that have impacted my life. And one of the 4 is my wife. Okay? These are women that had a big heart, a lot of love, character. All right? And yeah, a white man can be influenced by black women, okay, in a positive way. Yes, I have been. Okay, that's why I'm married to a black woman, because I've seen the beauty and the qualities these women had. And I wanted a wife like these women that impacted my life. Okay, nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with me saying I think black women are the best option. I do believe that. My life reflects that. Now, other men don't have to agree with that. They can think Asian women are Hispanic or whatever they want to. That's you, up to you. But for me, in my life, the blessings that I've received from black women and the impact they've had in my life when it comes to love, when it comes to faith, yeah, black women have been a big impact in my life. Okay, and why wouldn't I share that with the world? You know, there's so many people hating on black women and saying stupid stuff. Why can't Is it wrong for me as a white man to praise black women? And it's not, I'm just going praising them for nothing. I'm praising them because the impact they've had in my life. You hear me praising my wife because she's impacted my life. She's made me better than I ever thought I could be. And I'm nothing great. I'm just an everyday guy, but my goodness, my wife has, you know, had faith in me, which strengthened my faith, you know? Anyway, let's see another video. It already,
Ever articulated this
all right, I already
people who
showed her.
aren't
Okay.
black, but I've known.
Okay, let me take this down. All right. All right, good video though. Okay. Any video I show, most videos I show are very positive. The only time I attack anybody is when I've been attacked or my family. Okay. Me, sometimes just let it go and don't care. But when my family's attacked, that's when I respond. Okay. Um, anyway, let's show this video real quick.
You should be open.
Okay. I think she's a dating coach. I'm not sure. Dating outside your race. Let's hear her advice.
Dear black women, I'm going to give you 3 reasons on why you should be open to dating outside of your race. And I want to address black women when I say this because I think dating outside of our race for a long time has made us feel like we won't be black enough or we don't stand with our community, and that's just not true. Love should not have any limits. True love is not based on race. I don't care what you've been taught. True love is based on connection, respect, and shared values. Limiting yourself to only dating one group means that you could possibly be missing out on actually having a genuine connection with someone. Number 2, expanding your options equal more high quality partners. The more open you are, the more you give yourself permission to experience other men who are also high value. They just come from a different background than you. Number 3, you deserve a love that chooses you fully. At the end of the day, the right man for you will see your worth and support your dreams and treat you like a queen, regardless of his race. So ladies, give yourself permission to receive love and be loved.
Okay. I agree with that. And here's the thing, give yourself permission. There's only one person you need permission to open up your option, and that is you. Okay? It you know, do you want to open up your option? Do you love that man of a different racial group or ethnicity? Okay? It's up to you. You know, people could tell you whatever, what you should and shouldn't do, but it's ultimately your choice. Now, if I would have listened to people in the past and not married my wife, who knows where I'd be today? Thank God. I you know, I approached my wife. Thank God I looked at a woman's character and not the skin tone. And amazingly, black women, you know, had that character and the love. had what I was looking for. And look, I'm not saying, there are good women in all groups. I'm not here to shame no women. Women are beautiful and amazing. Okay. It's just something about black women. And if you've, been in my life and see what these amazing black women have done in my life, you would understand why the black woman is my preference. Okay? But everybody has a right to their preference. Okay? And nobody should be shamed or attacked for who they date or who they're in love with, who they marry. Okay? If those two people truly love each other, hey, you got a good man and good woman. Also, they're different colors. Oh, well. Who cares? You know? But anyway, let me show another video. I got 3 more real quick.
Are enamored by black women.
Okay. I like hearing this video, but is it true?
I think white men are enamored by black women. I think they see our beauty in a way that black men don't. And they appreciate our strength in a way that black men don't. So when you're with a white man, they let you do whatever you want. You literally feel like it's the princess on a cloud. You're like, they ask you, what do you want to eat? Like the one guy I was with. Lovely, very wealthy white man. Loves me to bits. Love him to bits. Listen, anytime I walk into, I can't even tell you who it is because you probably will know.
Yeah.
But like, anytime, let's say we're having dinner, he will order everything on the menu that I like.
Shucks.
And I can have a bite of each and be fine.
What?
Like, that's how much they're just like, I want to pamper you.
What?
You live your best life. What do you want? My experience of white men has been very good.
Okay. I will say I believe this is true. I think us as white men, we see a beauty that I might get in trouble for saying this, that black men don't. Okay. And what I mean by that, okay, is there's something we see in black women. Okay. And we appreciate black women. When a black woman shows us love, we really embrace it. Because a lot of times we don't expect it. Okay. Because of the propaganda, because of people out there on social media, black women out there expressing how they don't like white men and it's black men only, and we hear that, even though that's not all black women, but when a black woman shows us love, we embrace it. And I think in our culture we're taught to provide and protect women. We look at women like a princess, like a treasure. Okay, we're not expecting the woman to be there and do stuff for us. We think of women as a treasure, a prize. Biblically, it talks about the virtuous woman, how valuable a good woman is, and how you have a wife, you have favor from God. I think and maybe not just white people, maybe traditional white people. But I've been raised to look at it that way. As a man, you're the protector provider. My father always told me, he said, son, if you can't afford a wife, you don't deserve a wife. If you can't provide for, a woman you're in love with, you should not be with her. And that's how we're taught. It's like it's on our back and if we're not good enough, we don't deserve to be blessed with a wife. It's kind of, and there's something amazing when I start watching social media, when Kevin Samuels was coming up being big, and he would lecture women how they need to do better, how they need to do this, and I'm seeing black people telling black women how they need to compete for a man. Well, and in my community and how I've been raised, we compete for the women. We have to prove we're a good man and we can provide and protect. And maybe that's a generalization, but that's what I see. And I think black women, in my humble opinion, that are expected to carry a lot on their shoulders. And us white men are expected that too. But I think when we come together and we have true love for each other, we really embrace it, and we appreciate it. I think with white men that date black women, I think there's a little bit more appreciation we have for black women. And I'm not saying a black man can't appreciate a black woman. I'm just saying we generally do, because we don't expect a black woman to do nothing for us. And when a black woman shows us love and has our back, it really means a lot. It's really impactful. I know in my life it was when a black woman showed me love. I was like, you know, my first black girlfriend. I was like, thank you, God. I embraced it. I and the thing of it is, I didn't expect nothing from her, but to just love me, and I just and a lot of that's how we're raised. Well, in my family. Um, yeah, I think, and I don't mean to be mean, but I think us white men, we value black women more. Those of us that love black, we just do. I know I do. I love black women. I think they're amazing. I Now, are there evil black women out there? Yes, there are. But for the most part, black women I've been around it's been a positive experience. Whether it was dating, whether it was just friendships, whether it's just working around black women, my military time around black women, most part has been very positive. Okay. There's a couple black women I dated I shouldn't have, but you live and learn. I ignored red flags because I love black women, right? But for the most part, black women have been amazing. I look back and, you know, black women have made me a better man. I'll say it. And it's true. So why shouldn't I say it? But, I mean, tell me what you think. You know, now it's just my opinion. And look, I'm not right on everything. I want to believe I am, but, you know, I'm human. Okay. All right.
Men are enamored by black.
Oh, we already showed that. I had that downloaded twice. Okay. Okay. Now this is the video of a black woman that's, I guess, she's into the white man she's seen, but didn't think she would be. You go ahead and listen to this, okay? All right. Listen. White men are officially in. Okay. With her, I guess white men are accepted.
Wow. I never left a white man house wanting to give it to the white man. I never did it. I never did it, but it happened tonight. It happened tonight. I ain't give it to him. But baby, I unlocked my motherfucking black girl motherfucking magic. Because men have let that flame go out. Black men no longer appreciate the black woman. So when you find a man that's of a different ethnicity that actually appreciates your shit, baby, you start walking different. Y'all stay tuned. I'm going home.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, I guess she's excited about the white man she was with. Okay. And sometimes people open up their options because they find someone that appreciates them. Okay, I've heard black women say, they ended up with the white man because he really loved her, he appreciated her, was there for her. And I've heard white men say, you know what? I married a black woman because she always had my back. She was always there. She was, and sometimes swirling happens because we get love and appreciation where we don't expect it, right? Look, I pursued black women my whole life when I started dating, but I didn't expect black women to just open up their arms to me and just take me, you know. I expected to have some rejection. I expected to have some, disappointments, and it happened, you know, and you're going to experience rejection. That's just life. And an interracial, pursuing a black woman as a white man, you're going to get rejected. Okay. And it's not always that she's not attracted to you. It could be that she has a problem with white people, or, you know, are just worried that you might be a racist white dude or something. A lot of things going through black women's minds, right? We don't know. So, or they might think you're there because you're lusting after her. Okay? And as a white man, there's time you got to prove you're a good man. And that's okay. We need to prove ourselves. I think a lot of times black women, white men relationships work because the black woman is on her guard and she's looking for that red flag. And, she might kick a few white guys to the curb till she finds that good man. Maybe, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Okay? Yes, they don't have to sexualize interracial dating so much. It happens a lot and is disrespectful. All that other video, yeah, I just, yeah. But what I was trying to get out of that video, she was excited because she was into the guy, and he was showing her, treating her good. Okay, but yeah. But anyway, let me go ahead and show this video.
Because when did everybody start thirsting?
Okay, now this young lady here makes a good point. Okay, and if you're not down with the swirl, don't swirl. What I mean is, and my thing is you should swirl because you love that person. You should swirl for the investment. Okay, interracial dating and marriage. That's, if you're not in it for that, why are you swirling? Okay, I had one video a while back. I showed a white guy. He was saying about how he appreciates black women and saying all the right things. I was like, man, this is a good video. And then he said he's been dating black women for 20 years. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. Something's wrong here. If you love black women that much and you're not married to one after 20 years, something's wrong. Okay? Look, I love black women, and look, I got married at 24. I didn't waste time. I had a couple bad relationships along the way that kind of, slowed down the process, but I was all in. And when I met Sandy, that's my wife. It didn't take me long to know she was the one I want to marry, and she's the one I wanted to spend the rest of my life with. It didn't take long for me to figure that out. Okay? But this young lady, okay, look, listen to her, okay? And my thing is, I'm all about the swirl, finding black and white people finding love. That's great. I love it. I like to see it if it's done the right way. Okay? Not over sexual purposes or an experience, but because you truly love that person. Okay? The sexual part should come with the marriage. Okay, not before. I know people are going to give me hate for that one. Why? But they know I'm right, though. Okay. All right, let's listen what the young lady has to say.
Hold on, I'm gonna need y'all to hold on. Cause when did everybody start thirsting over white men? All of a sudden we got Nick and Landry and everybody wanna say like, I think I like vanilla. Bitch, no you don't. Cause where was all this energy 10, 15 years ago when I was middle school, crushing over the boy with the Bieber cut and rode on a skateboard named Ethan? Okay? Will. Ian, you know? I'm just saying, it's getting a little ridiculous right now. Let's be very clear. I've been on this swirl journey since Blue's Clues, okay? Don't try to hop on the bus now, because it's already left a stop. This is not for you. White men love is not a TikTok trend. It's a commitment. And I've been sticking to this commitment. Even to this day, my friends are on my ass about, you like white men? Ew, that's your first pick? Yeah, babe. I've been in that swirl, okay? All y'all are trying to manifest a man named Brad just because you see Nick and Alandria. Y'all need to stay in your lane respectfully. Okay? Leave it to the ones that actually like white men and not because all of a sudden it's become a thing. Goodbye. Stick to what you know.
Okay. What do you think about that video? Sometimes you have to. Yeah. But you know what? This young lady's right. Look, if you're not down with the swirl, don't do it because it's trending. Okay? Look. And here's the thing with the swirl. Okay? Here's the thing. Okay? It's trendy. Okay? And then for a while, it won't be as trendy. People will forget about it a little bit. Then it gets trendy again. And oh, look. Then we see these shows where a black woman gets with a white guy and, you know, the Mystery Island or whatever those shows are. And oh my God, they're cheering for the interracial couple? Yes. Okay? And like she said, the swirl, it's not a trend. If you're not down with it, don't do it. Okay, it's not a trend. When you choose somebody, when you're in a relationship, when it comes to love and marriage, it's not something that's trendy. It's a relationship. It's a commitment. It's not to be commercialized. Okay, there's nothing wrong with promoting it if it's done the right way. Look, I think people should. There's people out there that should open up their options, and there's some that should not. Let's be honest. Okay? Are you down with the swirl because it's trendy? Because it's something new? Because other people are doing it? You want to see what it's like? Are you doing it because that's who you love? Okay? I've seen a lot of people on the internet talk about the swirl. I've seen a lot of white men talk about how much they love black women. And some do, and that's great. That's awesome. But there's some that are faking it. There's some that are doing it for clicks and views. There are some that do it to make some money off something that's trendy. I'm telling you, the swirl thing is going to trend for a while, and then people ain't really going to talk about it. Then it's going to come back. It like comes and goes. It's weird. Okay? And I think once interracial dating becomes more of a norm, we'll quit talking about it. Okay? Once people, just see it as, okay, just people falling in love and don't care, then we won't have to talk about it. Then we won't have to defend ourselves, in an interracial relationship. We won't have to counter the haters with the truth, right? Because I look around and, there was a video I wanted to show you. Dang it, I wish I showed it. But there were people that, would say what they thought when they seen an interracial couple. Okay? And some people think because you're in an interracial marriage that you're somehow a South hater. You don't like your group. You don't like who you are, and that's a lie. I love my family. I love my mother and father. I just happen to, be married to a black woman that I love more than anything in the world. That don't take away the love I have for my family. I'm not trying, just because I love black women, I'm not trying to be black. I love being a white guy, and I love black women. Is that such a bad thing? you know? But if you're not down with it, don't treat it as something that's trendy. And yeah, don't over sexualize it. Okay? You shouldn't sexualize it anyway. When it comes to, we should promote people finding love and being happy, regardless of who they're with. Okay? Look, when I see an interracial couple, what are my thoughts? Yeah, I think it's pretty cool when I see a black woman with a white guy, maybe because that's, it reminds me of me back in the day when I see a younger couple. Me and my wife, we kind of smile because we remember when we were young and our life was ahead of us. Back then there weren't as many people swirling, and people would look at us and, you know, some people maybe out of hate, some out of curiosity. I don't think when people stare at you when you're an interracial couple that it's racism running through their head. I, sometimes we think, okay, God, why are they staring? They don't like seeing us together. Maybe they're just curious because it's not an everyday thing. I had an elderly white couple approach me and my wife, and I'm like, oh my God, they were staring at us. I'm like, oh my God, what are they going? What's going on? I had my guard up, and he's real nice too. He said, you know what? You really love your wife, and we seen you coming in. You were hugging your wife, and you guys were smiling. We really don't see people love each other like that, And he just couldn't tell me that. I'm like, oh, here I am, like on my guard, about to get ready, and my kung fu stance because I'm thinking it's going to be a racial thing because I'm with my black wife and they're going to say something horrible and I'm getting ready. And they're just showing me love. And a lot of it's propaganda we've been taught. A lot of it's, what we think because we've been told. And a lot of people believe that people aren't in a relationship because it's a lust thing. But when you do the marriage data, what happens? We tend to improve with black women. Is it really a fetish or lust? Or is it true love that people don't want to talk about? And people are scared when things change. A lot of people, they might not be racist about interracial relationships, but they're afraid. It's not in the norm. Things are changing. And I think they need to change. I mean, we need to stop this division crap. And truth be told, really, when I look at the real world and I look at TV, I'm like, wait a minute. I don't see black and white people going at each other and but I see the Kamala Anthony thing and there's people mad going march through neighborhoods and like what? A few agitators can make it seem like things are all out of control. And that bothers me when I see people up there. Because then people think, well, dang, black people are violent. They just want to start a fight. Well, those agitators, sure, but black people I'm around and they're coming around, trying to start a fight with me because of what's happening in Texas. you know, I don't know. And most black people, I don't believe, want to go back to segregation. I mean, why would they? They got the short end of the stick on that deal. I don't think. But anyway, okay. But I'm just telling you what I see, you know? And don't be afraid to open up your options. Just, look for red flags, be cautious. Just know, ladies, there are evil men in every group, okay? Now, we might look at that and say, well, marriage rates are better. And people hate when I talk about stats because, you can't really dispute stats. But when we see white men doing better with black women than white women or other groups, statistically, something's happening. And I don't think that's a fetish going on. Because if you're going through life with a fetish, your relationship will not last. In fact, you'll be looking for other women to fulfill your lustful desire. Um, but we're seeing things happen. And look, I've been in a successful marriage, and people around me, like, wow, you guys lasted 32 years. Wow. Well, yeah, we love each other. Why wouldn't we last? Because she's black, it can't work. I mean, what is that? But we love her. Me and my wife love each other more than our problems, more than our race. Okay? We're love loyal. We're not race loyal. I don't stand with people because they look at me. I don't stand with people that look like me. I said, look at me. I don't stand with people that look like me. I stand with people that love me, that have my back. Some look like me, some don't. Okay? I don't even think about, and if we have that attitude and just love each other and put character over color, there'd be a lot more interracial relationships, a lot more interracial marriages, a lot more coming together. And I'm telling you, and look, more people swirling ain't going in racism, but I think it will have an impact. It'll get us to come together and build families, and it'll bring us together to understand each other more. Instead of living in a segregated mindset, thinking this group's like this and they're like that, and we're superior over here, and because all we're doing is transferring white supremacy to black supremacy and back and forth. That's an interracial marriage can be a blessing. People do it right, coming together with love, marriage. I look at my family and my wife's family. Not only did me and my wife come together, but our two families come together. Friendships developed from my family and her family. Marriages have stopped wars from happening. Marriages have had a powerful impact. And I think in our society, in our nation, the more we come together, the better off we're going to be. I'm not saying everybody needs to hop into an interracial relationship. I'm not saying that at all. But the ones that do love each other and want to be together, leave them alone. Quit calling them names. Quit calling black women bedwenches and self-haters and traitors. And quit calling the men fetishizers and all this other crap. Just let people love each other. And if you're not down with the swirl, don't do it because it's trending. That is ridiculous. That is stupid. You're going to end up hurting somebody that might truly love you because you had to have your experience. Honestly, I want an older white man, 45 plus, who are established. They're more confident. The ones my age in the 30s aren't about anything. Well, with age comes wisdom, I guess. But you can find a good man within that age range. You know, there are good young men that got it together. But seriously, us as men, and I'm speaking about all men of all racial groups, we need to do better. We really do. Our marriage rates suck. They're horrible. Okay. And the out of wedlock birth rate is high. And it's not because people want that, it's because we have trashy men lying to women. Women, put their faith and trust in a man and, submit to him. And then he runs off and then she's a single mother. Ladies, do not submit to no man unless he's your husband. Okay? I hate when people say, black women, you need to be more submissive. And no, not unless she's a wife. And you're a good man and you deserve that. I'm just saying. But anyway, guys. All right. But there is an option out there. Okay? It's called the Swirl option. Okay? And here's the thing. There are good men in all groups. And when you have think of it as like you're in a little pond, okay? And all you have to pick is from that pond. But when you open up your options and you go upriver and there's a bigger pond, then there's a lake, then you have a variety. And if color isn't a thing for you and you're just looking for somebody that has character, what's it matter what the color is? You know, why are we worshiping skin tones? Why don't we just worship God and love each other? You know? What's that? If you want to establish success, serious white men, you might have to go to European countries, Canada. Well, you can find good white men in America. I think I'm a good guy. I think you just got to be strategic on how you do it. You know, stay friendship circle. Okay. You know, the people you're around. And I think a big part of our problem with relationships is we don't become friends first. We just attracted to each other and we just jump in. And the world tells us that if you're dating, you're supposed to be having sex. So we jump into that and wonder why our relationships fall apart. Well, you don't know who you're with. You go to the intimacy first when that should be the last part. You want to bake a cake, but you eat the icing first, and then you're sick and it don't go right. And I look at a relationship like baking a cake. If you ever heard me give that analogy, what's it take to bake a cake, right? All the ingredients. Okay. Now the last part's the icing, right? Well, the icing tastes good, it's sweet, and you know, But if you eat the icing without the cake, you're going to get sick, and your hunger's not going to be fulfilled, right? But if you take time and you bake that cake and put all the ingredients, it's like a relationship. It's like love. You got to love that person. It should start out as friendship. Should, and then it builds. Then you have chemistry. Then you develop a bond. You get to know each other. You know what each other likes and don't like, and you get to know them. And it's better to build that bond before you jump into the intimacy. And if you do it the right way, and then it's true love leads to marriage, then the intimate part, right? That's the icing on the cake. Then you love each other in all areas. But we don't do that, do we? We just jump in the physical desire, fulfill the lust, and forget about the rest of the relationship. And then wonder why our marriage rates suck. We wonder why we have so many children born out of wedlock. I'm just saying. But anyway. I'm talking of everyone trying to rush me into intimacy and then throw a fit when I don't give in. Yeah, and you know what? You need to be with a man that understands that intimacy comes later. It comes with true love. Um, you tried. I know what you're saying. But there are men out there that understand that. You know. Look, when I dated my wife, you know, I know the intimacy wasn't going to be right off the bat. I was okay with that. I just loved being around her. We dated. We developed a friendship before it got to the physical. We just loved hanging out, and we developed that bond. And in a perfect world, that's how we would do things. We would court women instead of dating them. We'd find out if is she a good fit for me? Am I a good fit for her? Can we build a family together? Back in the day, that's how it used to be. But now we're living the fast life where, you know, people, and what's sad, J10, is there's a lot of men that think because you don't give them intimacy, you don't care for them. And that's sad. And guys, I tell you, just because a woman don't want to go there, don't mean she don't love you, that she don't care about you. Some people are saving themselves for marriage, and they should. And if you truly love that woman, then you would wait. You know? But that's the problem with today's world. That's the problem with society. They teach us. Look at the movies we see. You know, a lot of movies are about sex and dating and high school kids getting together to have sex, and like that's not the way it's supposed to be. And I don't. But ladies, you got to have your standards. Okay, you don't want to give up your body to a man that don't love you, that just wants that experience, because that's going. And I'm telling you, having sexual relationships with someone that you don't love is going to be damaging, not just to the woman but to you too. You know, a lot of people don't really know what love is. They think it's sexual. They think it's the physical. They don't understand. You know, and that's why they can't have a solid relationship. But you know, but I think that's why it's important to have friendship first. You know, and I wish I could give an answer why these men are trying to force intimacy. They shouldn't. And it's sad. It's hard to find. Uh, it's hard for women to find a good husband, a good man. And we're so messed up. It's hard for a good man to find a good wife in today's world. We're all jacked up. What love advice would you give to a white man and black woman that who have kids from previous relationships? Well, the advice I would give to white men and black women that have kids from previous relationships, okay, is look, you both got to be okay with this, okay? Um, and there's going to be issues when you have children from other marriages, okay? Step parents go through a lot of crap. They do. Look, and I'll be the first to say, look, my parents were teenagers when they got married. Or when they got married, yeah. Okay, my dad married my mother because he got my mom pregnant. Okay, my father was taught to do the right thing, and they were shamed for having, you know, my mom getting pregnant out of wedlock. Both my mother and father were shamed by both their parents, right? My dad married my mother because of me. He wanted to do the right thing. Okay, they were teenagers. My dad's 19, has a 17-year-old wife and a baby, and now he's got to provide. You know, just barely graduated high school, no experience, no nothing. And we lived in poverty for, I mean, my father always provided, but it was rough, right? Um, and well, because they were young, my mother and father weren't ready for marriage and a family. So that marriage lasted 2 years. Okay. Um, my father was more financially set than my mom, so my father raised me. Okay. Now I always seen my mother. I always had both parents. My parents, yeah, they went into sin and had me, but none of them cut and run. They did what was best for me. My mother let me be with my father because that was the best option for me. Okay. Now that's tough. Okay. Now a year after my father divorced my mom, he got remarried. Okay, my stepmother. She's amazing, awesome, and awesome. Love her to death, right? But when you're dealing with children of another marriage, mom is mom and dad is dad. You got to understand that, okay? And even though you show the kids love and do everything for them, okay, mom is still mom, dad is still dad, even if they're, not doing right, okay? A step parent's got to deal with that, okay? And it's tough. And see, children, they don't get it till they see. I looking back, I was tough on my stepmother. I was, and I felt bad because a lot of stuff was wrong. But I was a child. You know, children don't understand. I didn't understand why my mom and dad weren't together, and I have a stepmom, and you know, and my mother got married later on. And my parents truly loved me, and they were always there for me. But it was tough because of the decision they made. And that's one thing: you do not have sex right away. Because are you ready for marriage? And ladies, I know it's tough, and we all want love, and you think, well, if we do this, if he truly, you might think, if he truly loves you, it'll be okay. But does he? Some people can have sex right off the bat, love each other, and get married later on, live happily ever after. But most of the time, it don't work out that way. Okay. But here's my thing. It's okay to have children from other marriages. Okay, if you truly love each other, you'll work it out. But you got to make sure that you both understand what you're getting into, and you can't have favoritism with your biological kids over the ones that aren't. Because when you come together in marriage and you have children, they're your children. Okay? Whether you're a man or woman, those are your children now. And you can't favor, little Johnny because he's your biological son and Timmy's from another marriage. You got to love them both. And you can't show bias. Okay? There are people that, look, in today's world, a lot of people have step parents. It's a common thing. Okay? You can make it work if you truly love each other. But I'm telling you, it's not going to be easy. Okay? I had a great stepmother, but mom is mom, and I hate to say that, but that's how children think. Growing up, I'm like, oh my God, I felt bad at some of the stuff I said to my stepmother. I felt bad how I acted. Now, growing up, you mature and you understand, how much of a blessing your stepmother is that you don't see as a child. Okay? And you just gotta understand that. And I'm telling you, step parents' job is never done. Okay? I don't have stepchildren. Me and my wife is my only wife. All the kids I have are with my wife. The only people me and my wife have been married to is each other. So we don't have that. But a lot of people do. And it's okay. And sometimes it works out beautifully. Kids might get a father, that stepfather, but he has a big impact, a positive. Or a mother, stepmother that's truly impactful. There can be a blessing from that. But I just say, know what you're getting into and understand. Children are not adults. They will hurt your feelings and not even know they're doing it. Okay? So get ready. Okay? But hey, sometimes marriages don't work out. Sometimes one loves the one, the other don't love the other. It happens. Okay? I don't shame people that get in divorce because I understand people are evil. I understand there's good and bad people. I understand that that there's abuse that goes on. And sometimes you have to get out of that marriage. Okay? Because people are flawed. People are corrupt. So you might have kids from a different marriage. That's okay. But you got to be ready. It's going to be tough because those kids, those step kids that are now your kids because of a marriage, okay? You might be the good stepdad, but dad is dad. Stepdad is stepdad. Mom is mom, stepmom is, okay? And it's just that way. All right. And there's going to be problems because they're going to miss the other parent, and kids go through that. I remember little missing my mother, and I want to see my mom. I can't because my mom lives over here. I'm with my dad. And then, but when summer came, I go see my mom, and sometimes I'd be with my mom, want to be with my dad. And, when you're a little kid, you just do that. Okay. But my advice would be pray about it, love each other, and understand. And talk to each other. Say, hey, we know these are step kids. We're going to have problems because we're not, we're step parents on both sides here, and we're going to deal with a little bit of drama because kids bring drama. That's what they do. Okay. Uh, but love can carry you through it. As long as you love each other more than your problems, you'll get through it. It's going to be some heartbreak and hurt feelings, but but you can do it. And look, I had a stepmom. I thank God for her. She was a blessing. I thank God for my real mom too. I mean, in my family, we had that dynamic where we were just family. You know, and my mother and father, amazingly, never degraded each other in front of me. They never talked about each other. And that's pretty amazing. But anyway, okay. Yes, I believe that I will find my husband's. Yeah, I think you will too. J10, you're amazing. You got a good heart. You'd be a good wife, and you deserve to have a good man, a man that's going to love you with all his heart, and you know, and I believe you'll get that. But hold your standards, okay? I know it's tough. And a lot of women give in because they want to, they want that relationship. They want that man in their life. And sometimes you got to say no. And if he leaves, he didn't love you anyway. So you dodged a bullet. I know that's easier said than done because we're human beings. Look, and us men get caught up in that too. Like, we'll find a woman we're into, we're attracted to, we're in love with, and we know she's not doing things right, and we see those red flags, but we don't want to let go. I tell you, the relationship I was in before my wife, that woman almost destroyed me. Okay? Mentally abusive, physically. I never laid hands on her because she's a woman, but I went through it. The good thing in that relationship is I was stronger than her, so I could leave. Now, if it's the other way around, there's been cases where men have, not let the woman leave and help, but but still, when we don't hold up our standards, bad things can happen. That was that time in my life. It was a wake up call. You better vet. You better know who you're dating. And just because your last girlfriend was amazing and you blew it because you were stupid and thinking the next woman's going to be just like the one you're with, and you cannot fix nobody. Okay? I thought, well, I'll just show her love and we'll work it out. And never happened. Never changed. I had to leave that situation. And then there for a while, oh my God. But sometimes, but I learned a lesson. The next woman I dated, I found out a lot about her, what she thinks, what she believes. Okay, yeah, I wasn't going through that again. But it took a lot of prayer. It took you know, it was heartbreak. And my father said, "Nah, I don't know. You shouldn't do that, son. You're not married to her. You don't live with her. That's not right." But I'm a grown man. I did what I wanted. Yeah, I paid the price too. But anyway, but I found my wife Sandy, and I was blessed. But I would say to all men and women, have your standards. Okay, don't compromise them. Ladies, especially, you're very vulnerable. Okay, if you don't understand that intimacy, comes with marriage, then you know, because you don't want soul ties with people that don't love you. That's not a good thing. You don't want that. Like I said, biblically, it says you shouldn't touch a woman till she's your wife, and you really shouldn't. We'd be a better society if we lived like that. If we're better, stronger men, we'd be a lot better off. And somebody will say, "Well, Roadrunner, you're bashing men." Damn right, because we need that. We need accountability. We need to have more character. Damn right, I bash people that need it. And truth be told, I'm flawed. I need to be bashed every once in a while. I need accountability. We all do. We all know how to spot black men who fetishize black women. Dr. Creepy Umar, 5'5", thick in the thighs. How can we tell if white men only want us for our bodies and not our minds, souls, and hearts? Well, you got to get to know that man. I'd say the easiest way, go on a date, have fun with them, okay? And if he starts, get touchy feeling, tell him you're saving yourself for marriage. And if he leaves, then you know. Okay? Look, Dr. Creepy Umar, that guy, I'm amazed that people don't call him out for that 5'5", thick in the thigh thing. That is over sexualizing black women. That's fetishizing their size and their thighs, right? That's what he does in front of our face. He fetishizes black women and then turns around and tells black men that they need to do right by black women and marry black women, and tells black people not to open up their options. Okay. So black women are supposed to get with lustful, fetishizing black men. I guess. I don't know. I guess it only counts as fetishization when a white man does it, though. But, tell him, say, if you really like the guy, say, just tell you like hanging out with them, and, and if it gets to the touchy feeling, say, I really like you, but I don't want to go any further till marriage because, my faith says I should wait till marriage, and that's what I want to do. It's okay to tell a man that, okay? And if you don't respect that, then kick them to the curb and don't look back. And if you can't respect, or you don't even have to tell them it's your faith. Just say, "Hey, I believe in sex only with marriage." Just tell them. And if he gets mad and acts all crazy, well, that's his problem. Okay? Because you don't want to give your body to a man that don't love you. You just don't want to do that, ladies. And what I tell you, ladies, I tell this to my daughters. You know, when they became teenagers and looking at boy, that's when I step in and wait a minute, hold the phone here. Okay, I know the world's out there telling you should do this, but sex comes with marriage. If it ain't your husband, don't let him touch you. Know the desires there. Don't do it. And I tell my son, you don't touch a woman that's not your wife. I went on a date one time, and you know, I was a teenager. I was like 17. My father said, you know, son, we don't touch women that aren't our wives. But anyway, have a good time. You know what? I didn't even try to touch that woman. And she was upset because I didn't. Because I was all into her. And I was tempted. But he told me that. And he was right. We don't do that. That's not how we conduct ourselves. You know? But if he really loves you, he'll wait. You know? I love my wife Sandy. When we're dating, the desire was there. Let me tell you, it was tempting, but I knew. But I could be with her. The love was there. You know? But she's a good woman, a good wife. And to have the best, you have to work harder. And you got to sacrifice. Look, you got to do what's right. You know, it's hard to do the right thing. It's very hard. You know, you don't have to have sex with somebody to love somebody. Okay. Now, when you're married, yeah, that's a part of life, and it's beautiful and amazing, but it comes with marriage. Okay. You know, you cheapen God's blessing when you do it outside of out of marriage. You turn in a blessing into sin is all you're doing. Sexual relationship is a blessing within marriage. It's for married people. It's not for everybody. It's not a recreational thing. It's for a husband and wife. Okay? But anyway, why am I talking into this? I think, I don't know, maybe God's telling me what I need to be saying. But seriously, okay? But let's go back to the topic. Okay? Swirl option. Okay? But I would recommend, ladies, you get with a man that was raised traditionally, that he understands that comes later on. That comes with true love. Okay? That comes with marriage. Okay? I know it's easier said than done. You know, but you got to pray about it. Have God put, the strength in your heart to have the standards. Okay? People and ladies, there are guys you don't give them the physical thing and they're going to leave and it's going to hurt. But it's right. Because if he truly loves you, he'll wait for you. Oh, thanks, J10. I appreciate that. But yeah, you're more valuable than his desires. Okay? Ladies, you are the treasure. You are the prize. Forget what these idiots on the internet are saying. The woman is the treasure. She is the beautiful one. The woman is the princess. She's the prize. Okay? Biblically, it tells us this. Okay? A virtuous woman is worth more than rubies and precious stones. A virtuous woman's worth more than anything the earth has to offer. Yet that God's telling us this. It's biblical. It says if a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing and favor from God. Okay? That's how valuable you are, ladies. Okay? And to hell with his desire and what he wants. He has to be a good man, and and if he don't deserve you, he don't deserve you. Do not lower your standards for a dusty idiot that's only looking for sex. Don't do it. And don't be believing that, okay, he's a little off, but I can fix him. Don't believe that, ladies. If he ain't fixed, you ain't going to fix him. Him and God has got to make that happen. And it goes the same way with men. If you're with a woman that's not right, you can't fix her. Okay? Ladies, you are a blessing. You are a treasure. J10, you're a blessing and a treasure, young lady. Okay? You deserve the best. Don't settle for less. Okay? I'm telling you. I know there's guys out there, and look, you might like them, you might desire each other, but okay? But you're not there to fulfill his desires. Okay? Now, if he loves you, he'll wait for you, and he'll end up being a good husband. But if he can't wait, kick him to the curb. Too many women end up becoming single mothers and end up being heartbroken because they gave into what the man wanted. They were being submissive. There's a lot of women in this world that were very submissive, right? That's the way they got children from men that run off, that didn't want marriage, didn't want a family. They just wanted a night with you. Okay? And if they get mad, so they get mad. And I tell my daughters this, look, because I understand we're human. Okay? Men and women are attracted to each other. Men and women do have sexual desires for each other. It's natural. But there's a time and place for everything. Okay? Within a marriage, it's a blessing. It's a beautiful thing. But outside of marriage, it's not. When there's not true love behind it, it's destructive. And I don't care what people say that, oh, yeah, they could just do it and not feel nothing. No, it's going to mess you up, whether you're a man or woman. Sex without love is, okay, it's not a good thing. And I think that's why biblical it says till you get married, till you're truly in love and married, you should not do this. Okay? Just because it's tempting and it's a desire don't mean it's right to do it. Most black men won't wait. It's sickening how they use and discard once they've got yeah. Well, there's a lot of men of all races that do that. I just, ladies, you got to have your guard up, okay? All right? And here's the thing, okay? If he truly loves you, he'll love you whether he's getting sexual sex from you or not, okay? If he loves you, he loves you. And if he loves you, he'll respect you and wait. Okay? But see, the good man that waits and has true love and a pure heart is a man that will be blessed with an amazing, beautiful woman, that he will be blessed with that treasure. Okay? to have the best, you got to do the best. You want it all, you got to give it all. You want a woman that's going to love you with all her heart? Well, you got to love her with all your heart. You got to, and let me tell you, you know, and a lot of men won't wait for marriage because, well, a lot of women have lowered their standard and let them have sex with them so they can. And the sad thing is, if you want to go have sex, you go out in town and find someone to have sex with you. And that's the sad thing. It should not be that easy. And you wonder why men aren't getting married. Well, you know, number one, marriage comes with accountability. Okay? Marriage means you give yourself to the one you marry. So if you're a man, you give everything to that woman. You give her your love, your desire, everything belongs to her when she's your wife. Okay? You got to forsake everyone. Right? Same thing with women. Your husband, that's it. You know? But the people that, have the longest lasting marriages, the ones that have true love and, are the people of character. Hey, and if you're a man, you gotta ask yourself, why are you with this woman? Do you love being around her? Do you like hanging out? Does she, do you love her personality? Does she make you feel good when do you like doing things with her? Do you like talking to her? Or do you just want to get in bed with her? I mean, and that's the thing that, we lost in our society. We don't have true men no more. They're looking for the short term gratification, they're not looking at the long term blessing. And here's what men have, ladies. I like to say what we have as men as life capital. Okay, think of it. Okay, we come in this world, we grow up, we become a man. Okay, now us as men, I think us as men are like guardians of the family. Okay, we're we're supposed to be the husbands and fathers and provide and protect our family so we can move on. And while we're on this earth, that's our job as men, to be an example to our family, to our children, to our grandchildren. Okay? And the capital we have people in our life that love us, that want to be with us. And, and we got to do right, but we got to choose right too. Who's the best fit for us? But we got to have standards. And we got to sacrifice for the long term blessing. Okay? You might desire to have sex with who you're dating, but here's the thing. Do you really love each other? Is it going to last? My mother and father, they dated, they fell in lust, they had sex as teenagers. But did they really love each other? I say they did, but not as husband and wife. They didn't. They fell, and they even admit to me that, yeah, they were dating, they had that dating love, but they didn't really have that true love. They fell into that temptation. Well, they're teenagers, their hormones are raging, and they had sex, it was fun, but there's a consequence. But if my dad would have waited, he would have avoided a lot of heartbreak, a lot of turmoil. And I'm not bashing my dad. My dad's a good man. My dad did the right thing. and I have a name, and I have a father, and you know what? My life turned out all right because my father, you know, did the right thing after he did the wrong thing, right? But he did right by me and my mother. He did. I have the utmost respect for my father, but he yielded to that sin, that temptation, and that's why you should wait till marriage. Okay, I know we're human. We have our desires, and we're men and women are attracted to each other, but we have to have discipline. We need to do what's right. Okay. Anyway, okay, enough preaching. But there's that option, that swirl option. But don't do it unless you're truly down with the swirl. Don't swirl unless you're looking for the investment. Okay. Interracial date, if that's who you love, and you're looking to interracially date to marriage, swirl to investment. Okay. I don't like swirling being used as it's trendy and yeah, and I think, and there's nothing wrong with, okay, wanting to date somebody of a different race, to see what they're like, as long as you're not doing it lustfully, there's nothing wrong with that, but I was down with the swirl because I love black women. Always have, you know? It's because the black women in my life had a big heart, had love, had character. And when my father told me I should look for a woman when he read Bible scripture, I pictured the black woman. I pictured the virtuous woman as a black woman. I just seen it in my mind because of the women in my life. Okay? And the women that had an impact. One was the babysitter, one was uh, a, a woman at church. The other was a girlfriend in high school that had an impact on my grades, and then my wife Sandy, and you know, and I look back on that. Why didn't a white woman have that impact on me? Why didn't an Asian woman? Why was it black women? I don't know. All I know is black women are amazing, and God help me, I love them. I think they're awesome. But I want the world to know the blessing I have. And I just want to debunk all that garbage out there that's being spread on the internet. Those stereotypes. Because the black women I know don't act nothing like that. Black women I know turned my life around. I'm just saying. But anyway, guys, I'm going to have to go ahead and close this. But, there is that option. But whoever you date, that is your choice. Okay? And people have the right to be with whoever they want. Okay? But I would just say, ladies, choose right. Have your standards. Okay? And look for character. Look for someone, we're attracted to who we're attracted to, but that person you're attracted to, make sure they have character too. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and close this. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Sorry I didn't do a Saturday night, but I had to get out of town to see my brother before, he left. And, because he's coming and going all the time. And um, had a great time in Atlanta. Atlanta's an awesome place. Had a good time. I told my wife, I says, dang, I wish you could have come with me. There's so much, man. But, you know, when she gets time off, we'll head back up there. And, but anyway, um, but I love you guys. Look, ladies, you are the treasure. You are the blessing. You're the prize. Okay? And us as men, look, we're not the prize, but we are valuable if we're good men. If we're doing right by our wives, our children, okay? If we're protecting and providing, that's value. Okay? But we're not the prize. Okay, we're not that treasure, we're not the princess. Okay, that's the woman's job. The woman's job is to be the beautiful treasure, to be the prize. Okay? She's the beautiful one. We're the rugged individual. We're the protector and provider. Okay? We provide that house for our wives, she turns it into a home. Okay? And I tell you, the one thing that's behind every good man is a good woman. Okay? All right? Us as men, we need to understand the true treasure blessing we have. Okay? And ladies, just know your value is a lot higher than anything on this earth. Think about that. That Bible verse said that a virtuous woman's worth more than rubies, precious stones. It's telling us that a virtuous woman's worth more than anything that earth can offer. Let that sink in. So if a man can't wait to touch you, he don't deserve you. Ladies, you're better than that. And look, you have your standards, and when that good man comes along, you'll be thankful that you held up your standards. Okay. But anyway, guys, have a good night. Okay. Oh, let me say a prayer. I want to say a prayer. Let me say a prayer real quick before we dismiss. Lord, thank you so much for allowing me to do this live stream, Lord. And I pray that I pray that I'll be able to do this more often, Lord. And Lord, I thank you for giving me the courage to share my life story, to express the love I have for my wife, to express the love I have for black women, and tell people about the black women in my life that have influenced me, that have helped me improve my faith, my love, that led to my marriage, Lord. And I thank you for letting me have the ability to do that and have the courage. Lord, and I pray that us as men, we start doing better. We start valuing women better and understand that they are the treasure, the prize. Lord, you tell us this. Please help us to have the courage to uplift the women in our lives and to bring down our egos and hold ourselves accountable so we can be better men, so we can be better to our wives, our children, Lord. And I pray that you give people the courage to open up their options if they're in love with somebody of another racial group, Lord. That we can have the courage to have that swirl option if that's what we want and we do it the right way. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you, J10. I appreciate that, young lady. Great prayers to you, and you're the treasure. Ladies, you're the treasure, okay? You are a blessing. Thank you so much. Alexander, good to see you, brother. Yeah, I'm just ending it now, but hope you're doing well, Alex. Good to see you. Um, keep up the good work, okay? And maybe maybe in a week or so, maybe we'll do another live stream like we did on TikTok. That was pretty fun. I enjoyed that. That was. Uh, but anyway, guys, you have a good night. God bless you and your family. Happy Father's Day. Happy Juneteenth. Is there anything else I missed? Oh, I was going to say something about the Juneteenth thing. Look, I I know there's some people that say they don't celebrate it, and some that say they only celebrate Juneteenth and not the Fourth. My opinion is I love my country. I love the people in my country. I celebrate the 4th of July. But I'll celebrate Juneteenth too. Yeah, I mean, freedom from slavery, we should celebrate that. They should have made a holiday for, when they did away with slavery. Why didn't they make that a holiday? Anyway, next stream is this Saturday. Yes, I'll be going live Saturday this week. Yes, I'll be back to schedule. I just got off schedule because I went to Atlanta and had some fun with my brother and his family, and we had a good time. Oh, yeah, and if you go to the Coke World, uh, try that drink Beverly. It's like a soda. It tastes like crap, though. But I guess it was like a drink when people are around people that drink alcohol and you don't. So I guess you drink something that tastes kind of bitter and a little awful like the alcohol taste so you can fit in. I guess that's what it was. But they were telling me, my niece and nephew, yeah, you got to try it. It's the best. And I did. And they were laughing at me when I almost spit it out. But they had like different sodas you can drink. And I told my brother, I said, dang, I stopped drinking sodas so I could lose some weight, right? And you take me to the world of Coke. Really? But anyway, we had a good time. Um, but yeah. But yeah, I'll be here Saturday. I haven't thought of a topic yet. So if you guys got an idea, let me know. I'll come up with something. Okay. Um, try to make a positive. Sometimes I get into negative stuff and I just, I know sometimes people say, you, I'm kind of protective, and when it comes to black women, I'm protective. And people say I have that savior complex. It's not that. I'm just protective of women I love in my life. My wife, my daughters. Black women, there are four amazing black women in my life that I love with all my heart. And when I see a black woman attacked, I kind of think of them, and it angers me. And sometimes I just go in and say things. Though they're truthful, sometimes people say, dang, Roadrunner, you're pissed and you're angry and you just, no, just, I don't know. I just have love for black women. So sometimes, and anybody that does black women wrong, I kind of look at them as the enemy. Okay. And yes, even if it's black men doing black women wrong, yeah, I might go in on them. I mean, it's easy to go in on white men doing dumb crap like that because they're not going to call you racist because you check them. But anyway, I'm just protected. That's just my nature. That's how I've been raised, to protect women. That's what we do. Um, so when it comes to black women, I guess I do have kind of that savior complex. I just have love for black women, and I hate to see black women being trashed. Okay, I'm told they need to do better. From what I've seen, black women are doing more than enough. They're doing more than any other group of women. Tell you, they have more impact in my life than any other group of women. And I didn't grow up in a black neighborhood, so let that sink in. Okay, that's just how amazing black women are. But anyway, guys, have a good night. Have a good Monday night. Okay. I'll see you guys Saturday. We'll come and do this again. It'll probably be, I'm going to try to go live about 8 p.m. Eastern time. Okay. Which is 6 o'clock for me. I'm in the mountain time zone. So it'll be 8 o'clock on the East Coast. And then 5 o'clock on the Pacific time zone. So for California, it'll be 5 o'clock. If you're in New York, it'll be 8 o'clock. Okay. If you're in Dallas or in the Central time zone, it'll be 7 o'clock. Mountain, 6 o'clock. Hey, when I put it on my community page when I'm doing a show, do you guys want me to put all time zone times? Or is it okay if I just put Eastern? I just do Eastern. But if you want me to break it down Pacific, Mountain, Central, Eastern time zone, do you want that? I think I'll do that because sometimes people get confused. Because I say I might say 8 o'clock Eastern. They might be in California 8 o'clock. It's already been done. Yes, all time zones. Okay, I will do that. Yes, I will do that. Yeah, that makes more sense. That way, you're not looking at Eastern time and live in California or something. Okay, I will do that. But it's good to see you, J10, young lady. Big prayers for you. Okay, remember, you're the treasure, young lady. Okay, Alexander, good to see you, brother. Buy the book. Good to see you. Wild Wild West 83. Good to see you. Are you from the West? Wild Wild West. Nina Boo. Good to see you. Melanated 483. CC. Good to see you, young ladies. I think I got everybody. Oh, Christine Morgan, good to see you. H7 Obus 973, good to see you. I think I got everybody. Okay, good to see you guys tonight. Or today, still daylight. Okay, good to see you. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the show. Okay. I'm going to continue to do this for quite a while. Okay. I'm not looking to go anywhere. Look, my numbers go up and down. At one time, we were doing thousands of views. Now it's like a few hundred. That's okay. I still love doing it. Heck, if there's 2 people on, I'll talk to you all night. But my thing is I want to get the message. Look, it's okay to open up your options. It's okay for white men to love black women and black women love white men and whoever you love. And yes, it's okay for black men to love white women. I'm all for that. I would just say do it, swirl to investment. Don't do it for a lustful thing. Okay? I say that to all men. If you're going to open up your options, do it for the investment. Even if you're same race relationship, do it the right way. That's all I'm saying. Whoever you date and marry, that's on you. But just do it right. Okay? That's my thing. I'm down with the swirl. I protect the swirl. All people have the right to swirl. My thing is do it the right way with a pure heart. Do it because you love that person. Okay? But anyway, I'll see you guys Saturday. I will put all time zones. I'll start doing that. Okay. And I always advertise on my community page. So, to let you guys know what time. And sometimes it's a few minutes off. And that's just because I'm coming home late from work. But I try to get it as early as possible because I don't want to be, being up late at night. I mean, I don't mind it because I'm off the next day, but some people, can't stay up that late because they got work and things going on in their life. Um, but anyway, thank you so much for watching. It's good to see you guys. Um, I love you guys, and just remember, there's that swirl option. Okay, black women, there are men of all groups. When you swirl, that don't necessarily mean you're going for the white guy. You might like that Asian man, that Hispanic dude. I mean, it's okay. As long as he's a good man, go for it. Do it. Okay? But do it right. Ladies, have your standards. Remember, you are the treasure in the relationship. Okay? We need to compete for you and show that we're worthy of being with you ladies, that we're worthy of, you know, being in your life, being your husband. Okay? We got to prove we're worthy of that. Ladies, it's up to you. But anyway, guys, you have a good night. God bless you and your families. I'll see you soon. Have a good night.